Hello. I was just on Twitch and I was streaming that I was making these hands. They're a little bit different than the way I've usually made them because the thumbs come out to the side. However, it's pretty much the exact same process. I actually use this pattern here. And then after cutting this out, this flat pattern, I just chopped off the thumb and glued it at an angle and then carefully cut it in half like here, like this to put the armature in. Sorry, I'm pretty tired. I've been chronically tired for the last couple weeks. But anyway, I'm just going to be making the armature now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away, and I will answer whatever I can as I see them. So, that is that. Let me switch the camera angles down a little bit. Hey Neil, I haven't forgotten about you either, bud. We're going to connect very soon. Just waiting on a couple. I got a lot of crazy things going on now that I did not anticipate. That I should say that I didn't anticipate being so crazy. These are all planned things, but you know, life keeps chugging on. Hey Tommy, that wasn't you in there on Twitch, was it? There was one person watching. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty. Should get my hot glue gun ready. Not sure if I've talked about this, but for those people who know me well, know my absolute hatred for hot glue, and they know about how useless it is, especially in puppet making. But there is one thing in puppet making it's actually good for. Stay tuned to find out when I get to it. Anyone see the Joker movie yet? I know it's controversial. I didn't see it yet though, but I do want to see it. Oh, hold on, I'm not seeing the comments. There we go. Oh, hold on. My wife's calling. I'll just put it in my ear. Hello? I'm good. Hold on a second. Are you there? Are you there? What's up? Mmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Hmm. I had a snack. Whatever you want. Whatever's easier. Mm. Mm. I'm live. Yeah. Sounds good, baby. Bye. I don't think so. Sounds good. Bye. Okay. Almost there. Okay. Let me just whip out this other one quick. There we go. Oh, I'm excited to be able to talk about this project more. This is a pretty cool uh, thing that it's for. Can't really say anything about it yet, other than it's going down under. It's going to Australia. It's a fun little thing. Oh, I didn't even turn this on. Darn. Let me turn that on. Almost there. Okay. This is the most tedious part of the arm rods that is actually the bane of my existence. And you know what? I think some people in this group were following my fish build, and I can actually finally post about it. So, however, the client that's ordered this puppet, I don't want to scare them by posting all my process photos, back posting the ones of the fish, because I don't want them to think that I'm ignoring their project, even though that one's already done and shipped and gone. And I don't want to even have it to bother explaining or anything like that too. So I'm probably just going to wait a little bit longer on posting that. I'm trying to get this project out though, this one here. Man, if I can get this out by next week, man, will I be happy. This has been long overdue. For my own fault, but life, right? Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I see Neil's question about twisting it with the drill. Would it make it tight? Yeah, it would make it super tight. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I don't. The only difference is, I was gonna say usually I pre-drill it before I put it on here, but I totally could have drilled it. I just didn't. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I don't. No rhyme or reason. I probably should have though. It would have made perfect sense. Sometimes I get caught up in what I'm thinking about. Okay. Now let me just start arranging this to fit the hand. Now, what I want to do is put this right about there. Okay. Stacy's asking about hanger wire. Hanger wire, in my experience, is not good for any part of the hand. It's definitely not for the arm rod because it just bends a little bit too easy. And it's not strong enough for the arm rod, and it's too strong for the armature wire. It's good for, I think it's good for like a craft or if someone that's really just DIY making it for things around the house. You can use whatever you want. But in my opinion, again, it's not really good for any part of a hand because, again, too strong or not strong enough for the different parts of it. Where I have used that kind of wire, but I don't prefer it, is sometimes for iMech stuff. Because that doesn't necessarily have to be. Sometimes you want that to bend better to get around curves and stuff, which is kind of nice. But again, it's still not my go-to for anything particularly puppet related. Especially since it seems to fatigue a little easier than some other metal that I use. Oh boy. Fatigue from bending back and forth, that is. There we go. Should be using pliers for this, but I seem to have misplaced them. but this will work. Crude tools. I had really nice pliers too. I really hope I find them. I'm pining to get a new tool. This a very expensive tool. Very, very expensive tool. I want to get a milling machine. I'm trying to see if I can get a sponsor, the company that I want it from, to sponsor me and maybe send me one, which I know is very wishful thinking. But I really think that they'd find value in that. A collaboration with me, that is. Because I mean, being exposed to makers and puppet builders is something a little different than their normal clientele. And I think it could kind of hopefully give them a little bit of a new audience. But yeah, I want to do some machining stuff for some mechanisms that I just think would be really cool to do videos on. So keep an eye out for that. Though probably it's not going to be very soon. If I end up having to buy the machine, it's really not going to be that soon, because the one I want is probably like $4,000, including the tooling. And then I also want to get a lathe to be able to do some different mechanism stuff. But I'll be lucky if I just get the mill. So the lathe I'll probably definitely have to buy. But, you know, whatever. Can't win them all. I'll be lucky to win one. And of course, if they do sponsor it, I'll make that known. If I do pay for it myself, I'll make that known too. What wire am I using? I am using galvanized steel wire, 25 pound, 18 gauge. This is a spindle of 110 feet. This is what I like doing for puppets of this size. You could probably go up a little higher if you wanted. I can't imagine wanting anything lower though. And these are, I think, 3/32 inch aluminum rods. So now for the hot glue part. The only thing hot glue is good for in this style of puppet building wait a minute, what's going on here? Oh really? Okay. The only thing hot glue is good for this style of puppet making is encapsulating the wires, arm rod wires. Okay, that's all it's good for. You don't want to use hot glue in your puppet for anything structural. This is just to kind of encapsulate it, which does two things. It should keep it from rusting, which I don't know why it would rust anyway. Also, I think it just having, think of, you know, like how an electric wire also has that plastic coating on it. It just gives it a little bit more strength and a little bit more body, and I think it would help keep it from getting fatigued a little bit faster, not necessarily a lot. Because you think if you bend a piece of metal, if you get a hard, sharp bend in it, it can have a weak spot. Where this won't necessarily completely prevent that, but with the between this and the layers of foam, I would definitely think it would you know, do something. So that's what I like to do. And Neil, I see your question there. I'm looking at a metal mill and lathe. All right. Come on. There we go. Okay. Just so you know, I'm not using that glue to glue that down. I'm just setting it there. Nothing structural you want to use hot glue for. Hot glue is not really meant for a permanent bond. All right. Okay. Hey Google, turn on shop vent.
Okay, turning on the shop vent.
No, I coat that in hot glue too. Just to give it, again, more of a buffer, so it's less of a weak spot where it could bend. You know? Okay, let me just hang this off the edge here. So I dripped hot glue all over this, but this should be fine. Okay, I'll let that cure a little bit. Do the other one while it's waiting. Let me put some glue on this, and then we'll let that cure quick. And I'll see if we have any more questions. Well, I'm just letting that dry a little bit. Alrighty, let's see. Helen asked about the glue. Any Aussies here know what glue brand in Australia comes with a brush in the lid? Yet to find it. I'm not sure, but I hope someone can comment on that and let you know. Are you not able to order anything from Amazon? Because you can get the same glue that I use on Amazon. But I don't know if there's shipping limitations or something like that. Or a lot of people like to use Barge, which I know you can also get on Amazon. Jeffrey. Okay, 9 a.m. here, off to work. Oh, well, thanks for stopping by. Jeffrey, thanks for stopping by. Alright, that's up to questions. Unless someone else wants to ask one now. But, here, I'll use this too to get it going a little bit more. You know, another thing I wanted to talk about too is this group in general. I think it's been so great. I think so many people are helping other people out who have questions and stuff. But I know there's been one or two little goofy things that have happened in the group. And a couple things I just want to point out about that is to just everyone be kind to each other. I don't moderate really this group because I think we're all adults. I think it's not necessary. I've only deleted like 2 or 3 comments ever, and they've just been things that are like literal name calling or something. But sometimes I see people hit report on just things that they just don't like, that aren't and sometimes I don't like them either, but I don't think it's necessarily inappropriate, so I just leave it because I think it's better to talk through anything generally. Again, as long as everyone's being reasonable. I think you know, and also I only speak for myself. We had a situation a couple maybe like 2 months ago or so, where somebody told them that they had like 3 or 4 of my moderators harassing them, and there's I don't have 3 or 4 moderators, so I don't know who was talking to them, and that was not cool either way. But the person couldn't give me names. I don't know why, but I just wanted to point that out too. I thought that was really unusual, because the only people that are administrators on this account are me and Chaz. But again, I don't consider we are not really moderators. I'm administrator because I started it, and that's just the way it works. And I made Chaz an administrator just because he is a point man, as a wealth of knowledge on any materials and processes that you could possibly imagine. He's like a walking encyclopedia of resins, epoxies, any tools, any materials in general. He's just got a wealth of knowledge of that. So I thought it would be a good idea to have him have that badge, so people could just know he's someone that's not just guessing at things. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And actually, you might recognize him. He was on the Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge show. And that's actually where we met, because I was a semi-finalist to be on the show, and then we actually met in the casting process. But he ended up being on the show. And after the show came out, we found out that he lived around the corner from me, which was a crazy coincidence, and we just became good friends too. So, if you ever have any questions about anything, feel free to ask Chaz. He's a wealth of knowledge. Feel free to ask me. And again, just post things publicly too, because a lot of times other people can get to it faster than I can if they know it. So, everything seems like it's going great though, and yeah, keep on keeping on. All right, let's see. We can add this on here. Gravity. All right. The ugly inside. Oh, and just to go back to about moderating stuff, the only other stuff I have deleted too is things that are just completely not even related to puppetry at all, which has happened. I've had some people post some like weird live stream gaming videos, which nothing against that at all, but this is a puppet tutorial question and answer group, so we do want to keep it to things that are on that subject. You can post gaming stuff in a gaming group. Other than that, feel free to post whatever kind of puppetry questions you have. Oh, look at that. I am liking that. Alright, let me get this guy on. You know what? It's still a little bit wet. Oh, I've just remembered. There was one more rule that I had on there that is the official, I think, only real rule that is actually posted in the rules or in the announcements, and that's no copy paste posting to multiple. Sorry, not copy paste posts that you made in another group already. So, like, even if you want to share the same like YouTube link or something that was something that you made, um, and you posted it in like the Puppet Makers Workshop, please don't just copy and paste your post from there into this group. It will be deleted. Um, but if you have a different question about it, like if you went to Puppet Makers Workshop and you posted it and said, "Hey guys, what do you think about my puppetry in this video?" And then if you posted it here and was like, "Hey, any tips on building, or what do you think of my build from this?" That's different. That's fine. But just making sure it's not, it is original idea and content that is, yeah, you shouldn't really be hitting copy and paste for any content other than a link. Okay, that's enough. Why am I talking so much about this stupid, boring jargon? Anyone have any puppet questions? Because I am just about finished with this for the day, I think. What's the black hinge material between the thumb and the palm? That is a Sharpie registration line. That is it. There's no actual hinge. It's just glued on at an angle. And yeah, those are just two registration marks. There's no actual hinge. Alrighty. Trying to just smooth this guy out. Now this trimming I don't normally do on the hands, but I'm doing it for these hands because I'm not using my traditional hand pattern. Typically I just sew around this. So this pattern that I made for this arm isn't actually a true pattern for the arm because I've already manipulated it by cutting off the thumb and gluing it to the side, which is going to change the flat pattern, because typically with a pattern like this I would just cut it out of foam, lay it down, cut it out of fleece, stitch around it, and be done. But because I moved the thumb, I'm going to have to drape a pattern for the hands, because now this would be stretched longer, because see on the inside, actually this is probably a fine pattern for the inside of the hand. However, when we get to the outside, now that it's in a different spot, see how it is actually like about half an inch longer? Okay, and you could just say, hey, why not add a half an inch? Maybe I will. But I'll actually, no, I will drape a new pattern for it, for the fleece, but just to kind of point that out. So I think that is it. Let me just sweep this off so we get a good look at it. Hey Google, turn off shop vent.
Okay, turning off the shop vent.
There it is. I don't want to bend these too much because then it'll make it a little bit tough to get the fleece on, but that is that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Any last minute questions? What puppet am I making? I was talking about it earlier. It's a secret. No, I should say it's a commission puppet for a client, and it's going to Australia. It'll be very public what it is. after that person announces their project, which I'm very confident will be almost immediately upon them receiving it. So, the second this goes out, it won't be long at all. But what do you use for the rods? Yeah, definitely check out my rod tutorial because I pretty much used definitely used all the same materials, and pretty much the same process. Otherwise, and this time I just moved the thumb, which is actually something I've never done with this pattern before. Oh, look, Fred's
Fred
here.
wants to come in, say hi.
Okay, Fred's here. Hold on, let me switch the angle of the camera. We've got Freddy.
Fred has a lot to say.
Okay.
She's wide awake.
Is she? All right, let me see Fred. Oh, look at Fred. Oh, my little Freddy. Let me see the blanket. Wow, let me just. She's just got a little bit of schmutz. A little bit of schmutz. Look at this visitor we have.
Has lots to say.
Look at this visitor we have. Hello, everybody. My name's Fred. Isn't she beautiful? Oh my gosh. She's growing. Look how big she is.
She's huge.
Remember my other videos? She was. I don't think she fits in that.
I think you should put her in the middle and see who does she look more like.
What do you think? Comment below. Does she look like mom or does she look like dad? You look at that camera there. Huh.
Which one? Oh, that.
So this is Fred. Oh, Fred. I'm gonna go hang out with Fred, guys. Sorry, I am out.